Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Unstoppable REI. I'm here with Douglas J. Beck. Man, I know you have a super busy schedule. I was reading all your accolades, and
Thanks.
I appreciate you taking the time to meet. So I won't
Absolutely.
waste time here. Let's jump right in. Why don't you just start with just tell me your story, kind of your 30-second elevator pitch, if you will.
Sure. Thank you, Rufus, for the opportunity.
Yeah,
I'm Douglas J. Beck. I'm a real estate investor, and I'm also part of a fund that lends to other real estate investors.
nice.
I started in New Jersey, come from a corporate IT and procurement background, and down here now in Sarasota, Florida, for a couple of years. I help my clients really all across the country, buy rental properties, buy renovation projects, and also build new properties to either rent or sell.
Okay. So you are you a native of New Jersey?
I'm born and raised in New Jersey, Central New Jersey. Yep.
So I don't hear any accent, man. What
Oh, really?
happened?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I guess I'm in Florida too long already,
You
man.
lo-
Yeah.
You're
Uh,
losing it. Huh? I've talked to the
yeah.
last couple people I've talked to. Well, there've been a couple that were from New Jersey and they had strong accents, and I was feeling like, man, I need to, beef up on my accent or something. I don't know.
You're from New Jersey too?
Oh
Or,
no, actually, I'm from New Orleans, but I live
okay.
in Louisiana. I mean, I live in Minnesota, but
Okay.
but anyway, I don't. Some people say I have an accent, but I don't think I do. But anyway,
I don't think so.
so tell me, man, what is one thing that you wish you would have known when you got started in your career?
Man. I think the construction side of the business has been the biggest challenge in terms of the renovation business and flips.
Yeah.
I kind of was told by a few people about, the complexity of it and how challenging it is and how people don't follow instructions. These contractors, some of them just, they yes you to death, and then they actually
Okay.
get to the job and they don't do what they're supposed to. So I think I had gotten some of the advice, so to speak, but I was unwilling to understand and really feel what that felt like without actually going through it. So I guess I was a little bit ignorant towards it, unfortunately, and then I started experiencing it, and I could say for sure, for anybody out there that's doing renovations, their properties, I would say just be careful with contractors. That's the biggest risk, I would say, in the deal for many
Totally.
different reasons. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. So you are actually in the business of fixing and flipping yourself, or you coach, or you do both?
Yeah. No, I'm an operator, man. So we've done about
Okay.
50 fix and flips. My company, JDL Ventures, is my wholesale company. So
Okay.
a couple hundred wholesale flips,
Yeah.
contract flips, quick flips. And then Douglas J Development's done about 50 fix and flips in the past 7 years or so. And then
Man.
I do coach my clients. So I have a coaching program, Flip More Deals. And I also
Okay.
coach business owners too, how to get into real estate investing as well.
Nice. So how do you have time to sleep, man? Do you? How do you
It's just it's fun. I literally was just on a call with one of my clients a little bit ago, right before this podcast,
yeah.
and he's a really experienced financing guy doing large deals, and we're going through time management. It's just about blocking your time and kind of talking about prioritization.
Okay.
I talk about importance and urgency, so you really got to measure those two things, I think, and figure out how you're investing your time.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect, but I've made a lot of strides over the years, of really
Sure.
finding how I invest my time every day. And I have a family too, so I make sure that they're taken care of, and I'm with my kids and my wife when I can be and when I need to be. So making sure the weekends are set aside for them, and try to really protect my evenings as much as possible, things like that. So
Wow.
it's tricky,
Okay.
man. It's a lot easier said than done, as they say, right?
Well, totally, and I think that we might have to have a part two and part three just to talk
Yeah,
about time management here, because I mean,
yeah.
that's a lot of stuff that you're cramming into one day,
You
and it
can't do it
sounds
all
like
by yourself. That's the
yeah.
thing.
Okay.
I have a team, so I got to give my kudos to my team.
Okay.
So
There you go. All right. All
yeah,
right. Sounds
I
good.
got between 12 to 15 people working every day in different parts of the business in different
Oh,
ways. So,
nice.
and
Okay.
that's like in-house, and then we got contractors obviously doing stuff on the jobs and things. So it's
Okay.
a team effort.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
So what would you say now? I almost hesitate to ask this question because a lot of people have different opinions about failure. We don't lose, we learn, and I get that. But
Right.
what would you say was your biggest failure or opportunity, and what did you learn from that?
Man, I think my biggest failure probably was in 2018 or so. We had at one point about 18, like legitimately 18, 17, 18 projects going on simultaneously,
Wow. Okay.
which sounds like a lot of success, but when you're in the middle of renovation projects, you're not succeeding until you finish and sell the property usually, right?
Gotcha. Right.
Because they're
Right.
under construction. And my biggest failure was, I would say at that time, where I had team members playing roles that weren't really in a position to play those roles.
Okay.
There's a book called Traction. I don't know if you've heard of Traction, or you folks have talked about Traction before.
No, I've heard that one.
It's a good book. This gentleman that wrote the book is a business consultant, but he talks about the concept of like right person, right seat versus like wrong person, right seat, or wrong seat, wrong person, right person, whatever the mix is.
Yeah,
So I had some of the right people, but they were in the wrong seats, you know.
Gotcha.
Guys that were really smart guys and gals that were, and also we're just really smart, really savvy, really sharp when it comes to like sales and influence and marketing, but not really project management type people, you know.
Yeah.
And I had them because I trusted them so much to run certain parts of my companies. Like I felt like they could handle the project management side. I thought it was pretty much a breeze.
Yeah.
But then when they get into it, it's a whole different animal. You know, now you're talking about management and operations and stuff like that, which isn't like a typical thing for a salesperson to be thinking about. So putting the right person in the wrong seat could be as bad as putting the right person into the wrong seat, I guess, you know, or whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever
no,
the way is, you know?
I understand 100%. You know, it's kind of like I think about with marketing, you have to have the right message to the right market and using the right media. So it could be a great message, but it could be to the wrong group. And so,
Right.
I mean, so you got to have the right combinations. So that's really key. So what advice would you give to somebody that's just starting off? They want to get involved in wholesaling, flipping, whatever. What advice would you give them?
I would say it's probably said by a lot of people that are in the business, but just get yourself as quickly prepared to make offers as soon as possible. Like making an offer, not like necessarily closing on a property. And that might sound like the same thing for some people, but when you go from like, I have a potential lead to like, I know how to analyze a deal to then finally having to make an offer and then you stop.
Okay.
You know, that's a big problem. I think a lot of people fail there and they don't fail forward in the sense of making the offer, making the wrong offer, maybe getting into a contract, knowing how to navigate out of that contract.
Okay.
Making an offer that might seem offensive, but just getting that reaction and feeling what that feels like, to know what that reaction of like person saying no to you is, like just having that experience. I mean, that's something that a lot of people in the beginning, a lot of my newer clients that are newer investors have that challenge. Like they don't instill the confidence yet to make the offer even, and you're not going to ever get a property in a contract by not making offers. So if you're wholesaling, if you're buying property to hold, you're buying property to flip, like whatever kind of property you're trying to buy, you have to buy property. You got to make an offer to buy the property, you know?
You know what? And that's really, it seems simplistic, but that's like, I mean, that's very, very important. I mean, you're in the business of buying property, so it's like you got to be making offers in order to do that.
Right.
And do you think that so you mentioned, I don't know what percentage of the people fail as a result of that, but is that a pretty big problem? I mean, you think
it's a bottleneck, man. I would say the majority, probably more than 50%, like 75 to 80% of people just don't even get past the comfort of, and it's really a psychological thing too, I think. So a lot of my clients I coach on just like the mindset of investing, the mindset of being an entrepreneur, things like that, because it's a risk you're taking, yes, but when you know what's ahead of the risk, like in other words, if I make an offer and obviously the seller has to accept the offer, but if they don't accept it, it's just an offer, you know, it's not going to ever go anywhere. And if they do accept it, there's still multiple steps to go into the process to actually go into contract. So it's not that intimidating when you break it down like that. But most people, when they think of making an offer, like, well, what if they accept? And what if I have to move forward? What if I don't have all the money? What if I this? What if I that? And then you don't get you're not going to get any further. Most of the time, they're going to say no. Let's be real, right? But you have to face that no to know what it feels like, you know?
Yeah. So, but you're saying you won't even develop the confidence around making an offer or even know what to do if they say yes, no, whatever, if you're not making the offer. That's the first step.
Yeah, just make the offer. And if you don't know how to make the offer, find someone wherever you're at. I'm happy to talk to anybody, but talk to people in the local market. Be willing to collaborate. That's a big thing too. A lot of people just want to do everything by themselves and then they wonder why they're not getting anywhere and they have so limited time and so little experience. And yet they're trying to do something that people with so much time, it's teams and so much experience are doing. And it's like, you're comparing apples and oranges. Somebody that's been in the business for 20 years, not me, but somebody else will say, you know, I'm looking at a card here of a guy that's a builder, for example. Well, I'm not going to be able to build as many houses as him if he's been building for 30 or 40 years, unless I build out an organization like he did, unless I have the experience he did. You know, it's unlikely. We can't compare ourselves either. I think we got to find ways to collaborate with each other, really. So yeah, man, that's what I would say is really, if you don't have the comfort, find someone that can get you comfortable and even make the offer with you on the phone or make the offer for you. If you're somebody that's trained on how to do that, maybe it just depends on what your situation is. Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. So what has been a couple, I would say maybe your top 2 or 3 resources that have helped you kind of along the way here?
Man, resources, I would say just great people. So I'm going to keep it kind of generic for right now, but there was some great people in the beginning of my business that were willing to help me. One guy in particular, his name is John. He's up in New Jersey. So quick shout out to John. John is an experienced wholesaler, but also flipped houses up there. So, but I met him I think at a networking group or something online, but he had deals, he had flow of deals coming in, and I had investors that wanted to buy property to flip and buy property to hold. So I figured with John, he kind of coached me on how to how to basically structure deals right where we could collaborate. So essentially he would bring the deal and then I would bring the investor and then we would have split the profit basically. So that kind of started our journey on wholesale flips. And we've done a couple hundred like joint venture wholesale flips over the years as a company. A lot of people are like this when it comes to like JV wholesale because they think of daisy chain and stuff like that. But I mean, I think resources is just really about people mostly, honestly, mostly people were the right resources, and finding those people comes through networking, going out to REIs, going out to events, going on bigger pockets, going on the internet, connecting with people like yourself. I think we got connected through Patrick, right? So great people, great connections, like just, it's just a community, right? The community of people, that's really, if nothing more, you'll at least learn something by talking to people about this business than you would just by not doing anything, you know?
Yo, yeah, that's the name of the game. And Patrick, I call him the king of connections because he's like
Man,
connecting everybody,
exactly.
you know? To that end, and I agree that people are a great resource. Do you have maybe one or two people that have been maybe the biggest influences? You mentioned a couple names here and there, but are there a couple that stand out? Yeah.
I would say, you know, kudos to the guy who got me started. His name's Cody Sperber. He's out of Arizona. So Cody Sperber, clever investor. We're in a great group there, education, coaching, stuff like that. I learned how to wholesale flip through his group. I met a guy named Franklin, also a guy named David, two mentors of his at the time. Franklin, I still keep in touch with as well. David, I kind of lost touch with, but Franklin's out here in Florida as well, doing development now. So those guys really kind of stuck with me. I mean, I was part of a program, but they went sometimes above and beyond to what I was anticipating by just making sure that, you know, I had the support I needed. And a lot of it's in the beginning for newer investors. I was a corporate IT professional coming out of corporate IT, going into real estate investing, right? I wasn't like an agent or a mortgage person. So a lot of that growth, that learning curve had to do with some of the fundamentals, like understanding even real estate in of itself, let alone how to structure real estate investment deals. So they kind of had to dial themselves down to a level. They were operating at such a high level, they had to come down to a level, you know, that's what they do for their clients.
Right.
Good programs, and they know how to oscillate to people that are brand new versus people that have experience looking to make a transition, whatever. So yeah, those guys really stuck with me. Definitely. And then at a macro level, I would say like I'm a Tony Robbins fan. So like I was part of Tony Robbins, you know, Master University. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think we're all Tony Robbins at some point.
You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff is just bigger picture, like life stuff, you know, life, personal development type things. Just today we're doing like a book recommendation internally as a company once a month. I'm giving a team a book recommendation. So the one I gave today was actually John C. Maxwell, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership.
I love that.
You know, that's one of the first books I read about personal development when I was in network marketing, kind of on the side, you know. That's how I started before I got into real estate investment. And I was doing that I was trying to get out of corporate America. I didn't have the wrong vehicle at the time, you know. It was my bridge over though, because I got connected to somebody because I was talking to them about that business. I got connected to somebody who was doing real estate investment. So
one thing led to the other, kind of. Right. And that's cool. I mean, certainly, network marketing is a vehicle. It's not the right vehicle for everybody. But hey, you know, you mentioned coming out of IT, corporate IT and real estate. And that's kind of like night and day a little bit. I mean, how did that work? I mean,
well, I mean, just, you know, just so that it'll connect the dots a little bit. So when I was at Johnson & Johnson, which is a large pharmaceutical company, obviously have an IT shared service. So effectively, like I wasn't the guy doing like the web coding and the stuff in the data center. I worked with those people, but I was like a business level IT guy. So to be fair, you know, I was, one part of what I did was strategic sourcing. I was involved with negotiating contracts for IT. You know, so
So there's some similarity there. I hear that. But you know,
the analytical part though, for sure, man, underwriting deals, you know, that's a big deal.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what is a myth? And there are a lot of them out there, but what is one myth within real estate investing that you can debunk?
That it's easy.
Right.
I mean, the thing is that, you know, I hear this a lot, and I'm going to qualify it a little bit. So like right now, there's a myth that there's no deals that exist, right? There's low inventory.
Good point. Okay. All right.
So I would say it depends on that. I'm not going to say that's right or wrong because it depends on what market you're in. And I'm a numbers and data guy because that's where my IT part of it is. So when you look at, like, for example, Sarasota, Florida, or this vicinity of Southwest Florida, there's a guy down in Southwest Florida, REI, that runs that event that he talks about numbers all the time. So if you look at the data and you look at like cash percentages, for example, when the cash percentage is like more than 50%, you know, there's a massive amount of demand of like money that's not determined on financing that's coming into the market. When you look at like numbers, for example, like Sarasota, there was another meeting I was at where the guy was the property assessor for Sarasota saying that there was like 40,000 transactions last year compared to 33,000 the year before. And you see that there's like an increase of number of transactions, closes, you know, whatever trades. I mean, a lot of the data says different than what we're seeing. I think what's happening is there's actually a saturation of investor activity, which is not
Okay.
individual investors. It's also like large, big scale hedge fund type institutional investment.
Okay.
There's a lot of trade of property happening and there's a lot of activity, but we're just not seeing all of it. So
Sure.
I think what it boils down to is getting ahead of that and talking to the right people that have inventory. So there's some large brokerage wholesale companies out there that do like, 50, 60 deals a month type of thing.
Yeah.
It's just connecting with those groups. If you're a buyer, right, the deals exist. It's just someone else has it probably.
Gotcha.
And if you're a wholesaler, you got to be willing to roll your sleeves up and kind of get dirty and go out there in the trenches and make deals happen by doing marketing and stuff like that. So
Sure.
I know they exist. It's just a matter of also what price you're willing to pay. Like if I want to pay wholesale from 3 years ago, well, it's not going to happen in this market.
Right.
But retail today is different also though, so just it's all relative. An example would be like we have a property up in New Jersey that we got for, I don't know, mid fives, like 575 or something like that.
Okay.
When we bought that property, we had planned on putting like about 150 into it and selling it for like 900, 925. Well,
Okay.
we ended up putting about $200,000 into it. We've held it for longer than we thought, but we also just got an offer well over asking, by a couple $100,000 over asking.
Wow, that's nice.
So, but it's relative though, right, Rufus? So
Yes.
it's like if I buy it and if the market works in my favor, a deal, you can kind of get lucky sometimes. You don't want to run your business like that, but
Yeah,
once
yeah.
in a while, by just doing the right things, you'll kind of find that like over time, you'll have those wins that are like that. And
Yeah.
if you're diligent, you know what I mean, then you'll have obviously the normal stuff where you make, $56,000 per flip or whatever. But once in a while, I do that 6-figure flip or whatever. It's just about doing the business and growing and focusing on the right things. I think that's, if you stop doing stuff, like your business is going to stop kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've mentioned the word mindset a couple of different times. And don't you think that also is about mindset? I mean, it's like if you have the mindset that the deals are out there, I just got to find them versus
Right.
there are no deals out there. I'm not going to, what I mean? I think mindset plays a key part. Don't you think?
It's like programming in your brain. Like if you tell
Yes.
yourself there's no deals, you're not going to find it. Whatever you believe is what becomes,
Yeah, yeah. Exactly.
So agree 100% on that. Yeah. You got to be open-minded. You got to be willing to do creative type structures where you might have, situations where you have to be a partner with somebody, for example, JV deal, versus doing it by yourself. Like there's different structures, but I would say it's just not good to think that there's nothing that exists. That's a good reason. Look, if people out there listening to this wanted to sit on the sidelines, if you're cool with that, then that's fine, but be okay with it though.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
like people that are like sitting on the sidelines that are just complaining about it, kind of
Right.
make it aggravating for all of us to actually want to put deals together. So
Yeah, yeah.
and also being on the lending side now, I can tell you that transactional volume is actually up on the lending side for us when we talk about lending for short-term money.
Yeah.
Because there's people renovating. Now that I said I would qualify it a little bit though. I'm still kind of in my mind qualifying it. There's the flips, at least in the markets that I operate in, which is New Jersey and Florida, they're sort of cosmetic flips that you put $20,000, $30,000 into and make like a $50,000 or $100,000 profit. Okay. We're not seeing that right now, right? I don't see those, but I do see the deals where you put in a 50 or 100 grand, you make 50 or 100 grand potentially, right? You
got it.
You could do those deals, but you have to be willing to put in the renovation, that value add.
Okay.
You can't just like sneak down here in Florida. On the other hand, if you're in Sarasota, maybe because there's no inventory practically in the market, you could literally take a property off the market, get it for 20, 30, 40,000 less than what its value is, put it on the market, and then 2 weeks later get offers over asking probably. Wow. Because of economics,
Yeah.
But that's Sarasota. But if you look at New Jersey, it doesn't happen like that. If you look at other parts of the country, it may not be like that. So it's market specific. It's kind of what I say it boils down to.
Sure. No, that makes sense. Yeah. So let me ask this, man. If you're on this side of this computer screen, you're asking the questions, what should I be asking you that I'm not asking you? I mean, what is it that you would like people to know that I'm not asking you about?
I mean, I appreciate the question. It's a cool question, actually. So I would say a lot of folks that I coach, right, historically have been newer investors.
Okay.
This is kind of a PSA for the folks out there that might be a little further along their journey, but maybe they're hitting roadblocks, or maybe they're trying to make a shift. They're trying to figure out, is it still going to be flips that I do? Am I trying to get into buy and hold? Am I trying to take it to the next level?
Yeah.
I would say that whether it's me or somebody like me, right? I don't know exactly, Rufus, if you do the coaching as well, or who else that does that, but
yeah,
a coach is a universal thing. I'm an athlete, right? So I've been an athlete my whole life. I go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week. I've been training. I played basketball my whole life. Then I got in the track and field, shot put and discus. I've always taken care of like my health and stuff like that, but I've always had a coach too.
Okay.
So I think like people, there's a negative connotation in the industry where like coaches and mentors and people like that are just like, I don't need that. Like, I already learned everything. I already got this.
Yeah.
And that's cool if you actually feel like you've arrived, but
right.
Whether it's me or somebody else, like there's probably going to be somebody in your corner if you're trying to grow still. Yeah. Which most people should be thinking about growth, especially what I think is happening in the market and some shifts we may start to see in the next 6 to 12 months, depending on how certain things happen in the world and whatever. There's, interest rates are rising. inventory is still low, but it might become more as foreclosure starts up, and all these kind of things. You got to kind of be prepared. And I think even if you're already doing business, like I would say my kind of PSA is like, look for a coach that can help you do more business or do it more effectively, do it more efficiently. Maybe it's not income.
Yeah.
Maybe it's your time. Like the conversation I had today, one of my clients was not even about making more money. He knows how to make money.
Yeah.
But he's trying to figure out how do I manage my time? How do I balance my family work type balance? Like it's that kind of stuff that I've experienced firsthand as an entrepreneur with a family, and I've had a lot of people coach me on, and I consistently listen to stuff and podcasts and different things to get me plugged into that kind of concept. So that constant growth, I mean, I think if nothing more, people out there should be flooding themselves with positive information that's going to help them take it to the next level. I don't think there's ever a time where we as entrepreneurs are going to stop. We might slow down, but at that point also look to give back though too, right? Because like, like you're doing, man, you're doing this to give back in some capacity to the community, people around you. So like you're trying to help them grow themselves by hearing stories from people like me and other people out there doing stuff. Like, that's awesome because you're trying to contribute. So like contribution, I think has to be at the core of what we do. And then if we focus on growth and contribution, like those are two of the spiritual needs that we have, as Tony Robbins says, of what
I agree.
Do. Then everything else will fall into place, kind of. That's how I see it, kind of.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And you, speaking of Tony Robbins, I mean, and I believe he's the one that said it, but a lot of people do. You're either growing or you're dying.
That's right.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I mean, and you think about it, it's really kind of crazy. I mean, when you look at it, just in terms of coaches, you look at the people who have coaches and look at their life. You know what I mean? And people that don't like to get the guy that says I already arrived. I mean, that's you know that he's an accident waiting to happen. You kind of want to get away from guys like that. But anyway, so heading down another tangent here. So before I hit you with the last question here, I want to know, how can people reach out to you? How can they connect with you?
Yeah, so the best way to reach out to me, I don't know if they can see it on this or not, but it's my website, douglasjbeck.com. So douglasjbeck.com. On that site, you can kind of get another little 3 or 4 minute intro about who I am, some more details maybe I wasn't able to talk about today. Like I'm a partner in a title insurance company, for example, and brokerage and stuff. So I have other businesses, but I also do coach, like I mentioned. So if you want to learn more about that, or if you need to look at a deal with you and give you perspective, or if you're looking for capital, anything to do with real estate investment or entrepreneurial type stuff, I'm happy to have a conversation for 15 minutes for free. You schedule a time. It's based on my real time availability. You can go in there, schedule a time. You'll talk to me, right? I take those calls personally because I want to have those conversations and then see how I can help you and how my companies can help you. And if we can't help you, we'll let you know. If we can help you, we'll let you know how. That would be the best way to do it. And then from there, obviously you'll get my phone number by having that conversation. I'll give you a call, and then we'll take it from there. That's the best way to do it. douglasjbeck.com.
Like it. I'm gonna start calling myself Rufus E. Thibodeau. I'm gonna have to change my branding. So here's the last question. And like you said, the reason why I started this is to help people. One of the reasons is because if you Google the term real estate investor failure rate, all right, you'll see that 95% of real estate investors fail. That's a huge number. And so what I'm trying to do, I'm on a mission to talk to successful real estate investors. I want to find out what you did differently in the industry with the 95% failure rate, so that you're not failing. So 2 questions. One, how do you define the word unstoppable? How would you define that? And 2, what did you do to make yourself unstoppable when it came to succeeding in this industry with this huge failure rate?
Man, it's a big question. And I respect the question too, as far as the numbers, because it's so accurate, unfortunately. It's kind of like businesses in general too. Real estate is just like a subset of small businesses, I think. But I would say what defines unstoppable is just another couple of adjectives that come to mind. So someone that's a relentless person, someone that's resourceful, like Tony Robbins talks about being resourceful.
Yeah, I like it.
Making things happen because you know who to call, not what to do necessarily. Finding out solutions that maybe someone else didn't have, but you create a solution, be creative, finding ways to connect the dots. It's kind of like you gotta figure it out. There's no stopping you. Basically, unstoppable means this is what I love, this is what I care about. I'm doing it for the right reasons. I have a motivation that's like a fire burning inside me that makes me want to go. For me, it's my family, it's my legacy for my kids. It's things that I care about bigger than who I am, right? My faith and my belief that I have to make impact. That's what drives me to be unstoppable. And I think when I face those things you mentioned that are like potentially, making me want to stop or whatever, I have to figure out how do I get past them. I just think it's a matter of like, sometimes it's taking a break and pausing and reflecting. So I'm big on like prayer and mindfulness as well. Meditation. So my routine, I'll tell you a quick story and then wrap it up. But when I go to the gym, like I'm a pretty big guy. I'm 6'4", about almost 300 pounds. We'll call it 285 to 300, depending on the day of the week, how much food I had that day. So it depends.
That's hilarious. Okay.
But I'll be at the gym and you see me and you think I'm the guy to go there and lift a lot of weight and push a lot of heavy weight. I used to be that guy, but now it's like functionality and like mindset also. So when I go to the gym, the first thing I do is I get there, I got my water, I take my water and myself and I go into the sauna. Okay. And I sit there with my phone and I sit there for 10, 15 minutes and I either listen to nothing or I'll listen to a guided meditation and I'll just sweat as I listen and reflect on who I am and what I am. Okay. And I'll get my mind straight. And then from there, I get out of the sauna and I go into the stretching room, my headphones on, my earbuds, and I stretch for 15, 20 minutes. And I do like yoga type stretching, hip flexor stretching, all kinds of stuff, right? Like I do butterflies, all the things you could see people doing. So I'm not really lifting when I go to the gym, but then finally for 15, 20 minutes at the end of all that, then I'll go do some moderate weightlifting, or I'll just do like farmer carries where I'll carry 45-pound dumbbells or heavier dumbbells around the gym for 2 or 3 minutes and then take a break in 2 or 3 minutes. So I'm not doing like stuff to get stronger and stuff. I'm actually stronger in my mind.
Yeah.
My mind, strengthen my resilience, right? Like I joke with my kids, like we go to the beach and stuff a lot. So I say when I'm carrying the weight at the gym, I'm preparing to carry all the stuff to the beach, you know? So it's like functional stuff, you know, we're trying to prepare for things that matter.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
In all seriousness, like that stuff is more mental training than anything for me. I want to get my head straight, and that's in the beginning part of my day. So that sets me up for success because then I get all my stress out of the way. I get myself ready. I feel nimble. I feel flexible. I can move. And now, like when I get on the phone, I feel energized. You know, I'm on the phone a lot, as we all are at this point, the phone or video or talking. And so that just sets me up for success. But that, to me, you have to have that foundation of strength in the sense of mental strength and resilience. Be unstoppable also, you know.
Man, I love it. Number one, I feel like I need to be a client. I feel like and I feel like I don't know if I want you to coach me on a morning routine or on a diet. You know, it's like but I know that you are successful for a reason. I mean, obviously you've got all this stuff nailed down. I appreciate you spending the time with me and sharing it with my audience, and I would love for us to be able to not make this the last time. I mean, I'd love to be able to,
man. Let's talk again, brother.
Yeah, talk again.
Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for that.
No problem. Well, look, man, I'm going to let you go. I know you got things to do, but I appreciate your time, and we'll talk again real soon, okay?
Talk real soon, man. Keep in touch.
Right, we'll do. Take care. Bye-bye.